brands, but let's talk about the biggest of the lot first, and that is Nike. So this is the way to say the name of that company. Some South Africans call it Nike, but it is Nike. That's the way the Americans refer to it. It's the world's leading player in this environment because it's got a big footwear business, but then it's involved with all of the accessories and equipment and apparel stuff that we were talking about. Major player in sponsored sports gear. It was founded in the 1960s in Oregon in the United States of America. Most people know the story about Phil Knight and Bill Bauman making shoes using the waffle iron for the Oregon running team. But it's grown into one of the world's leading branded companies, a market cap of $103.55 billion US. Price to earnings ratio around the market average, which is 24.13 over there in America. Dividend yield not particularly generous, 1.04%. Share price done well. We'll see the graph come on at some point, but tremendous company. Oh, there's the graph. It's done a little bit of wobbling there at the top. Remember, this company's also done a lot of share splits. So if you looked at them a few years ago and you saw them higher than 60, that's where they do like 2-for-1 splits as they go along. Member of the S&P 500, member of the Dow Jones Industrial Average, etc., etc.
Yes, I mean this is a high-class company. You're talking about the biggest sporting apparel and footwear manufacturer in the world. They have massive market shares everywhere. They have the biggest market share in the biggest market in the world, the United States. A growing market share in China, and also a really decent footprint in Western Europe. They're able to sell their goods at pretty high margins. They demand premium pricing
because they're doing a lot of technical innovation all the time.
Absolutely, it's that technical innovation story. Yeah, I mean, it's the only pair of pants you can find in the market, the dry fit range, that you can do a class of hot yoga in, and you'll still have dry legs at the end of it.
Well, let's talk about that because, I mean, here is a new Nike Zoom Pegasus 32 shoe. And this thing sells for about 2,000 Rand here in South Africa. I don't know what the price is to manufacture it. But of course, it's got this new knit fabric. So instead of having the old cut, make and trim version with like leather bits and pieces in the old days, it's now manufactured using a single piece. So they don't waste anything. The margins are high. And that's not even to start, as you say, on all of the other technical apparel items.
Yeah, I mean, it's becoming very complicated, which does drive up costs to a certain extent because it is quite labor intensive, and I know that they are trying to work on it, but that's really what gives them that competitive advantage. And if you look at their growth areas, I know that they are focusing on women in particular. They're even making point shoes. And they're making point shoes. A point shoe is a shoe that you do ballet in, that you stand on your tippy toes with.
And Nike makes those too.
You know, you've seen these movies.
Because Misty Copeland is one of their sponsored athletes. And she's like the prima ballerina at the New York Theatre or something.
Absolutely. So she's with Nike, and actually she's being sponsored by Under Armour as well, which is very interesting. But yeah, Misty Copeland has really just ignited this ballet revolution in the United States. People are doing it for exercise. And I mean, if you think about movies about ballerinas, those bloody toes come to the front of mind. Whereas this Archangel, which is the point shoe that Nike is making, really just protects your foot when you're training. So you won't go on stage with it, but it's just a great way of training.
As far as new markets are concerned, obviously China is of considerable interest. We know the Chinese government, is coming out of these 5-year plans. They've got some new 5-year plan, which they want people in urban areas of China to do more sports. So they're investing heavily in sporting arenas, soccer fields, all of that sort of stuff. That's got to be a huge net positive. And these American brands like Nike are very popular in China. People buy that stuff in order to differentiate themselves from the ordinary people that can't afford the foreign brands.
Absolutely. I mean, we know how the Chinese respond to luxury goods, and in terms of sporting, Nike would be your luxury brand.
Yeah, and it's affordable. It's not as expensive as like getting a fancy watch.
Absolutely.
Okay, so this is a company that's done well. The share price has already done a lot of growing. But at $100 billion, it's not as though it's, such a mega corporation that it couldn't go further. I mean, the results have been good. Earnings have been strong. The teams they've sponsored have done well. So what's not to like, right? I mean, how do you feel, hot or not?
Well, the valuation is a bit stretched. I mean, they're trading on a forward PE of about 23 times. But still, I mean, you are going to look at high single-digit growth. It's a solid company, market leader. It would be difficult to be not hot.
Not hot. Okay, good. So we're going hot on that one.